Hello, people. How are we doing? Welcome to another episode of Grand Football TV. I hope you've not missed us for too long. Yes, it's because we've had the FA Cup weekend and also the Carabao Cup semi-finals first leg midweek, and we haven't been around. But the Premier League is back. Game week 22 is here. Game week 22, and let us just remind you of all the little stories that have happened while we haven't been on air. So Man United have appointed Michael Carrick as their interim manager. And he's actually played. Has he played a game? I think this is his first game. This one coming up this weekend, because they are out of every competition. Darren Fletcher took charge of their game in the FA Cup, and they got knocked out by Brighton Hove Albion. Danny Welbeck getting the goal, the winner. And yes, Man United are out of all competitions except, fighting for top 4 now in the Premier League. That's all they're fighting for the rest of the season. It's been a bad season for Manchester United, but I'm sure they would use this time to reflect. And when they come back, they'll probably come back stronger, bigger, and better. So Michael Carrick is the new interim manager. Also, Liam Rosinia, who the last time recorded had just gotten the job, but he hadn't played games, and now he's played 2 games. He's played the FA Cup against Charlton, where they won. They beat Charlton comfortably. I think it was 5-1. And they played the Carabao Cup semi-final, the first leg, against Arsenal, where they lost at home 3-2. Garnacho getting 2 goals there. And speaking of the Carabao Cup, like we said, Chelsea lost to Arsenal at home. I'm sure some of the fans on both sides will not be happy. First, Chelsea will not be happy them losing at home to Arsenal, one of their rivals. And Arsenal, who upon seeing the starting lineup for Chelsea, should have killed this game, should have killed it, in this first leg. But, that's not how football works. Everyone has to fight for the points they get. And interestingly, some Arsenal fans, in as much as Arsenal won, they're still not happy, because they're thinking they should have killed this game off, score more than 2 goals, taking it to the Emirates. But with this 1 goal, Chelsea might still have a feeling. And I've spoken to a few Chelsea fans, and exactly what we're saying. They still have the belief that they could score an early goal at the Emirates and things could just be different. But that's football for you. Anything can happen. And the other game was Newcastle versus Manchester City. Manchester City winning that one 2-0. And it should have been 3-0. It should have been 3-0. But the VAR ruled out a goal, a good goal in my opinion, by Semenyo, citing a Haaland offside. But the Haaland, he wasn't affecting any. In fact, that was a very, very poor decision. And I'm sure a lot of people will agree with that. It was a very poor decision. But that's football, and we carry on. Okay, let's look at game week 21. Let's look at what happened in game week 21 before we start game week 22. Remind ourselves of what happened, because it seems ages ago these games were played. West Ham versus Nottingham Forest. West Ham losing to Nottingham Forest 2-1 at home. Nottingham Forest winning that one, and well done to Anu and Chris. Those are the 2 people who got the correct score of West Ham losing 2-1 to Forest. Bournemouth versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Bournemouth winning that one 3-2. And well done to Temitayo. He was the only one who got that score of 3-2 for that game. Brentford beating Sunderland 3-0. It was 3-0. And no one got that correct score. People got the correct outcome, but not the correct score. Well done to well done to no one. Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. That one finished 0-0. And because of that scoreline, no one got the correct score. You would imagine no one would have predicted that 0-0 scoreline. You'd have thought one of them would have scored at least in the game. Everton versus Wolves. That one finished 1-1. And well done to Finn. Well done to Nyema. And well done to Temitayo again. They all predicted the 1-1 scoreline in that game. Fulham versus Chelsea. Well done to yours truly. I went for the 2-1 scoreline. Fulham beating Chelsea 2-1. And well done to Dion as well. Well done to Nyema and well done to OK. All four of us got that correct score of 2-1 to Fulham. Manchester City versus Brighton. This one finished 1-1 and no one predicted that scoreline of 1-1. Burnley versus Manchester United 2-2. That finished 2-2 and well done to King T. King T was the only one who predicted a 2-2 scoreline between Burnley and Manchester United. Newcastle versus Leeds. That one finished 4-3 and no one got that scoreline of 4-3. No one predicted 4-3 in that game. And the last game, which was disappointing as an Arsenal fan, Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0. And you would imagine no one predicted that scoreline of 0-0 in that game. Yep. Okay, let's go into game week 22. But before we go into game week 22, this is how the table, our predictions table, this is how it looks like now after game week 21. Temizak leading the way with 491 points. Dion in second with 461 points. And Finn in third with 455 points. And if we go further down, in 12th is Temitayo, 382. Yema, 374. And at the bottom place at the moment is King T with 362 points. Yeah, so that's the table. I'm sure you can see everyone where they are on the table. I'm still doing okay. I'll move up the table. Don't worry, guys. I will move up the table. Okay, let's look at game week 22 quickly. And there's a big game to start us off. A very big game. Manchester United versus Manchester City. Well, Man United, new manager. Are they going to have a new manager bounce? All the guys who went for AFCON, apart from Mazaruyu, he's in the final of the AFCON. And shout out to the two teams in the final of the AFCON. Morocco versus Senegal. Yeah, there's some Premier League players in both teams. Ilman Ndiaye, Mazarui. Who else? There are a few players, you know them. So that's the AFCON final. But we're talking about the Manchester United Man City game now. So these players like Ahmad and Mbumo are back for this game for Manchester United. Mamouche won't be back because he has a third place to play. Egypt will be playing Nigeria for the third place. So they're still there fighting that out. So Man United, well, you would say Man City actually. They've got Semenyo now, and as at recording of this video, they're lining up Gehi as well. So will he sign on time to be, in the game for Man City, or would it be for their next game? They need Gehi because they're depleted at the back at the moment. Diaz is out for 6 weeks ahead, and Gvardiol has a broken leg, so I'm not sure how long that would keep him out for, but it'll probably be a while. So, with that said, I'm going to go for Manchester City to, play really well against, what's his name? Manchester United. I'm going to give Man City the win for this one. Man City are going to beat Man United 2-1 away from home? You can tell us yours in the comment section. Chelsea versus Brentford. Chelsea, they'll probably be vexed after that loss to Arsenal in the Carabao Cup semi-final. But this is a different game. This is the league, and they need to, push up the league. And Brentford are up there as well. They've been playing well all season. They've got a talisman in Igor Thiago, who has been scoring goals. So this game would be a very, very tough one, and it's so difficult. I will be sitting on the fence for this one. I think this game will finish in a draw, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Maybe Chelsea scoring first and Brentford equalizing, something like that. 1-1 for me. Leeds versus Fulham. Fulham. I'm going to go for Fulham to go to Leeds and get a result. The AFCON players will still not be back yet because of the third place match. Chukwueze, Iwobi, and Bassi, they still won't be back yet. But I still think they probably would have enough to get a result at Leeds. I know Leeds have been playing really well, but they might have tired out now because the games been coming thick and fast, and it might have taken a toll on them. So I'm going to go for Fulham 2, Leeds 1, away from home. Liverpool versus Burnley. Burnley. I'm going to go for Liverpool to beat Burnley 3-0. Burnley, have not really, shown that they can keep up lately. They've been losing games you would expect them to win. But they played well in their last game. I must give them that. Getting a draw against Manchester United is always a good result for any team. So they will be looking at that. But I feel traveling to Anfield will be a very huge task. So I'm going to go for them to lose 3-0 in that one. Tottenham versus West Ham. Tottenham, the manager, his life at Tottenham is shaky. He'll probably lose his job soon. So I'm sure he'll want to get some decent results soon. And what a better way to start than against a very poor West Ham side who have been struggling. West Ham, on the other hand, they look at this and say it's a London derby. So we want to, keep ourselves, with the pride that we have and not lose to our local rivals. But I see Tottenham winning this one, and I'm going for Tottenham to beat West Ham 2-1. Sunderland versus Crystal Palace. Well, with the news coming out of Gay, he might be leaving. That might affect the team. But Glasner is an experienced coach. He'll probably get them playing well. Probably remind them of all the people that have left Crystal Palace, and they've still, gone on to do great things. So I would say this one, Sunderland, because of how they were well beaten in their last game, we want to make a statement in this one. But I'm sitting on the fence again, guys. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal. This is a difficult game for Arsenal, no doubt, because Arsenal are at the top of the table, and by the time they play, they probably know what has happened in the City game, because City might have won and reduced the deficit, or might have drawn or lost, and they could go into this game more relaxed. But whatever the case, because they didn't do the job against Liverpool, I would imagine they would come here and want to make sure they get the job done. But it'll be difficult against the Sean Dyche side. He plays really well. He sets his team up very well. So it all depends on how they're set up. But I still see Arsenal getting the win, and I'm going to go for Arsenal to win 2-0. Arsenal to beat Forest 2-0. Wolverhampton versus Newcastle. Wolves versus Newcastle. This game is going to be a very difficult one for Wolves. They've been playing well lately, getting some points on the table. But this one, Newcastle will be hurting from that game against Man City in the Carabao Cup semi-final. So they will want to make amends here. They will want to give a good showing of themselves away from home as they, like a dress rehearsal for the game against Man City. So I would say they would try and put in their best, but I'm sitting on the fence again. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. A 2-2 draw. I can't call a winner for that one. Aston Villa versus Everton. Aston Villa are flying. They're doing really well. They're joint second at the moment. So it's interesting how they drew, City drew, and then Arsenal drew in their last game. Otherwise, we would have seen a little daylight between at least one person. But this game, I see them reminding themselves of what they're fighting for and, putting up a good show. Everton, a bit depleted at the moment and out of form, so they might struggle in this one. And I'm seeing Aston Villa beating them 2-0. Aston Villa winning this one 2-0. Brighton versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth. Brighton, good showing in the FA Cup against Manchester United. And a good showing in their last league game as well against Man City. So they'll be looking at themselves and saying, look, we're in good form at the moment. And the team coming to us, Bournemouth, they've played well lately. And they might cause us problems. But I see Brighton beating Bournemouth. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 scoreline. I'm going to go for Brighton to beat Bournemouth 2-1. Yep. So, what are your predictions? What do you think would happen in game week 22? Do you think Manchester United can do it against Man City? Well, do you think Arsenal can extend their lead this weekend? Do you think Chelsea can beat Brentford? Well, game week 22 is just around the corner. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye for now. Yo, check this.